Willkommen zum Reinsurance Podcast, live aus Baden-Baden. Wir sind hier für die jährliche Rückversicherungskonferenz, wo sich führende Mitglieder der Branche versammeln, um über die neuesten Trends, Herausforderungen und Innovationen zu sprechen. Bleiben Sie dran für exklusive Einblicke direkt von der Konferenz. Welcome back, Tobias Sonndorfer, to the Reinsurance Podcast. I think we last spoke in Monte Carlo on the yacht more than a year ago, and now we have you back as the incoming CEO for VIG Re here in Baden-Baden. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you very much, Ben. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
You're most welcome. And before we go into the detail of what's been happening all around us, how have you found the sort of buzz of this year's Baden so far?
Well, so far I have to say nothing to complain. Weather is beautiful. We have sky blue and no rain like last year, so nothing to complain. It's great to be back.
It's strange, isn't it? We had rain in Monte Carlo this year and sun in Baden.
Exactly. It's slightly colder here, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously Baden, a special event for VIG. We know you host a great party at the end of the event, but lots of you are here, I think, around the business.
Yes, indeed. It's a special event for VIG. It's a special event for VIG Re. We're here with a quite sizable team. It's very important for if you're active in continental Europe that you're present in Baden. So we are. And you mentioned it, certainly for us, specifically special Wednesday evening, the VIG Re cocktails, our party to the end of the conference, which I believe is the final highlight of each conference.
Indeed. And so, Toby, you're our expert in the region, so very excited to hear your views of what's been going on. Obviously, we've had some floods, we've had other things going on in various parts. What are the main stories of the year looking back for the market in this region in general?
Well, for the market in general, or for the region in general, certainly the events which you refer to is the most significant event that happened that year. It was a devastating flood. It was the most critical event, I would say, within the region. Multi-country flood is what is the main peril of the region, actually, and we saw this happening. Was in terms of the magnitude of rainfall over the 4 days, which it was the center of it, actually was quite dramatically. And the one time you could say as a reinsurer, that's what's happening from time to time. That's what you're here for. We are shock absorber, so we want to do that as a reinsurer. On the other hand, if you see the masses of water coming down within a short period of time, it's quite devastating. And we have a few learnings, or a few observations, at least early learnings out of that.
Okay.
So the event certainly is a sizable event for VIG Re as much as it's a sizable event for VIG. On the other hand, what we acknowledge and what we realize already is that the flood protecting measures that had been installed, I would say, in Austria and in Czech Republic, as well as in Poland, which had been the most affected countries, actually, worked quite well.
Good to know.
And that is really the good news of that. So the governments here, specifically in the Czech Republic, after the events 1997 and 2002, heavily invested into flood protection. Same was true in Poland, same was true in Austria. And that really worked, which still makes it a big event, but significantly smaller compared to as this would not have been taken place, or that was not have occurred.
And I guess that's obviously a devastating event for the people affected, and not great for reinsurers potentially. But in terms of the future, these events are what we need sometimes to show what happens if you've got the protective measures in place. So hopefully we'll see a further uptake of protection, knowing that it works and having proven that it works. So.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's exactly it. As strange as it might sound, but sometimes you need an event to test it, what's working. That holds true for models. Models have been tested. That holds true for the protection measures. They've been tested too. That's what we are here for. That's why you do it. Unfortunately, you have to say sometimes it's been tested, and that was the case. Yeah,
no, for sure. And so how have things been on the VIG Re side over the past year, and obviously looking forward now to only a couple more months before renewals of 1/1 get going?
Yeah, we are all excited, as you can imagine, in front of the renewal coming. The German-speaking countries, Austria, Germany, kicked off the renewal already, so it's not that we are waiting. We are in quoting, and the quoting process and submissions are arriving already. So everyone, I think every cedent is preparing for this upcoming weeks, which is the most exciting time in Europe when it comes to reinsurance. The year has been quite an interesting one, a developing one for VIG Re. We are continuously building out VIG Re in terms of making us future ready in a sense, and bringing our value proposition even more tangible to our clients and into the markets. That holds true from many angles, as we discussed last time. We are continuously investing to improve our underwriting setup, to invest in data and technology, to be really fit for the future, as well as we're investing in people, bringing new people on board. We had a major event this year happening that we open up our Munich branch in June this year. So we now have, thank you very much. We now have what we talked of last year as an expectation now really took place. So we are now with the office in Munich present in Germany. And out of that office, we're serving the whole German-speaking countries, so Germany, Austria, Switzerland, as well as Scandinavia. That's exciting. I think well received from the clients there, and a clear commitment to the region. And it's been a developing year, an interesting year, and a year with full of energy, but also full of fun, I have to say.
Oh, brilliant. And I'm glad to hear it. Exciting to see you guys growing from strength to strength. To what extent, I just wonder, as a more regionally focused reinsurer, are you impacted in your conversations with clients here by things that are happening further afield? You know, the hurricanes in the US, for example, the casualty, social inflation and all that sort of thing. Does that impact your clients here and you as well? Or?
Well, I would say that is a topic where what the industry is talking about. So certainly the hurricanes are affecting us in the sense of what the industry is driving. Same holds true for the US casualty topic. For VHR, we do not, as you hinted, we don't have any Americas exposure. So it's not affecting us directly as an organization, in the sense that we are exposed, but the industry is shaped by those type of events. It's a big discussion topic, and so it is for us. So certainly we observe what is going on globally on the NatCat arena, as well as in other lines of businesses. We are keeping track, so to say, even if our footprint is not in the Americas.
Makes sense. And in terms of the other topics that we've seen coming out, the symposium launched on Sunday with the theme of partnerships and data quality coming out. What sort of topics have you seen as the main headlines for your conversations?
Well, the topic on partnerships and data, I think, is a topic which is important for the industry going forward. And I would like to close the circle for what we've discussed on the natural catastrophe side. I mean, what is without any doubt happening is that we go into an era of climate change, and with this era of climate change, the small, you would say, mid-sized frequency claims are picking up, and the question for us as an industry is, how do we cope with that? We currently see a clear movement from the reinsurance industry away from frequency covers, which is understandable, absolutely. At the same time, you need to ask, how do you deal with this as an industry? Because people are affected, they look for risk transfer solutions to protect their houses and homes, to protect corporations. And I think the question which we need to ask ourselves, what's the role of insurers or reinsurers in that question? And that is not a trivial question, actually. It's a quite a fundamental question, but I think partnerships and data, or the usability of data, might be a way towards a solution in that respect.
For sure, and I think it's always interesting, isn't it? Baden-Baden we talk about as like the deal-making conference where everybody gets their heads down and gets the deals really moving forwards and underway. But we do need to occasionally lift our heads up and see, is this industry setting itself up for the future that it needs and that its customers deserve, I suppose.
Yeah, true. I think we need both. On the one hand side, we need these transactions take place to have a review into the portfolios and to reassure ourselves that we wanted to go into the next year together. So I think this also transaction element is an important element for the industry. So it's good to be here. It's good to engage. It's good to recommit or commit newly into certain programs, into certain treaties. On the other hand, sometimes we need to zoom out. Probably now is not the time to zoom out, but for the rest of the year we need to zoom out and work with a heads up, as you rightly said, and ask ourselves what's our role for the future. And I think here it is important really to step back and ask ourselves, what is the risk situation societies are faced with, and how do we as an industry contribute to that, and what is necessary to be successful in this. So I do believe that if we apply solutions of the past to problems of the future, that won't probably not work. So we need to think slightly different about that going forward. And I think it is important because we need to stay relevant as an industry to the risk questions of the future.
For sure.
And those risk questions of the future are related with climate change, are natural catastrophe related to some extent, but they are beyond that. I mean, there's many other risk classes evolving currently, and we need to face reality here and ask ourselves what's our role in that.
Yeah, for sure. I think we sat in Monte Carlo this year thinking that casualty was going to be the main topic for the year, and quite suddenly the industry has shifted, it seems, to talking mostly about catastrophe news. What other lines of business are people talking about besides catastrophe at the moment, and what are the main conversation topics?
Well, to be honest, I think the main conversation topic is indeed about natural catastrophes as it's shaping the global reinsurance world to some extent.
For sure.
I mean, the discussion which is continuously ongoing, certainly cyber, and the question around cyber in all its facets. And I could continue. It's very hard to pick out one specific line, and you're completely right. Monte Carlo was very much centered around U.S. casualty, and then reality kicks in, so to
Indeed,
say. But this is how it is sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I will ask you one final question just before we let you back into the market again to go and resume your conversations. But any forward views as we go into 2025? Do you think when we come to Baden-Baden next year and Monte Carlo, we'll be talking about the same kinds of things? Or what do you see as the topics to look forward to in the year ahead?
I fear that we will speak again about events that took place during the course of 2025. That's how reality is looking like today. Hopefully not about floods in Central and Eastern Europe. So we don't exactly. We don't need this on a yearly basis. But there will be events taking place in all parts of the world. That's simply the reality which we have, and hopefully we made a step forward in thinking of how do we cope with that as an industry, also in connection with the societies, in connection with governments. So I don't see a radical shift or let's say a complete dramatic change happening here. It's a gradual development, and I think we need to make small steps forward to master that.
As you say, I guess that's what the industry is here for at the end of the day. So
exactly.
Brilliant. Well, Tobias, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. Pleasure having you, as always. Look forward to seeing you around Baden-Baden. And I hope that the VIG Re cocktails are fabulous to sign off this Baden-Baden again.
Absolutely. Looking forward to see you there. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the invitation.
Thanks again.